Tin Can Bay was originally known as Walu. It was officially renamed to Tin Can Bay in 1937, although the name Tin Can Bay appeared in newspaper articles before that time.
Just after sunrise at Barnacle's Dolphin Centre, wild humpback dolphins glide in, and for a few moments you're a part of their world.
We have Harmony, who's out there. He's 26. Haven't seen Ella since end of November last year. She's a 44-year-old female. Aussie's 19.
We have three main predators. We have the tiger shark, bull shark, and the third one, us as humans. We are probably the worst because of all the rubbish that is thrown overboard from boats.
They swim past us, they come up, they lean on us and everything. So like this, give us a bit of a shove. They're not tagged, they're not trained. These are totally wild animals. Because he does have a habit of sneaking up and shoving, which he's doing right now. Australian humpbacks they're called. Harmony. How did I know it was you?
He likes to go between your legs, so we've got to keep our legs together.
It's not all about feeding the dolphins. We do give them a welfare check when they come in. So we check if they have injuries or anything like that.
Yes. I'll just suck off the fish from your hand. They don't actually chew it.
Can you hear Luna? So this is a male-only trait, so you won't see females doing this. So out in the wild, males present the females with what they deem gifts. And if the female thinks that it's a beautiful enough gift, hopefully 11 to 12 months later, we will have a young calf. So Harmony 6, and here's one of our big males. So just remember we can't touch him though, so
That's
what
okay.
I want you to do is hold your hand out flat. Just put your finger on there, from there, that's it. Hold that under the water, and when he takes it, let him have it and pull your hand out, okay? And pull your hand out of the water.
It's the closest I've been to a dolphin. Thank you.
Alright, it's straight across there and then there's a ramp.
Prepared to get a bit wet, especially at high tide. The Tin Can Bay dolphin feeding program is regulated by the Queensland government to protect the Australian humpback dolphins, to ensure sustainability, to protect the dolphins which are an endangered species, control the feeding amounts and prevent reliance on humans.
Thank you, Patch. Thank you, Harmony. Thank you, Joe and Luna. See you sometime tomorrow. So as soon as they see the empty upside down esky, they know there are no more fish. So they've turned and they're going to swim the 18 kilometres back down to Inskip and turn around and come back tomorrow morning.
I need to change these wet pants.
Oh, it's quite bright.
Norman Point is the northern coastal point and is the starting point for the 4 kilometres Tin Can Bay foreshore walk that extends around to Crab Creek.
I thought this was a plaque, but it's more just a memorial stone for Edward from his family. Oh, he was lost at sea. Our memory brings of Ted's sweet smile and cheeky grin. It's so quiet out here. I haven't put a lapel mic on. Hopefully I don't need to. Residents of Tin Can Bay. The foreshore is home to a diverse range of plants and animals, including fish, snails, mussels, birds and mammals. The bar-tailed godwit. Where do they get these names from? Lamosa lapinoca.
Famous for their remarkable endurance, they are known for their ability to undertake the longest non-stop flight of any bird, flying from Alaska to Australia or New Zealand without stopping to feed.
The origin of the name remains uncertain, although some people believe it links back to the indigenous language, possibly meaning mangroves or plant species.
Other interpretations from local history include Tin Kun, which means big fish, or Tunkamba, which means place of dugong.
European activity began in about the mid-1800s, driven largely by the timber-getting industry, which supplied sawmills in Maryborough. Look at that. Timber was transported from inland forests to shoreline using early rail systems and then rafted across the water, following one of the earliest industrial uses of the area.
This is apparently where Queensland's first private railway was in operation. This railway ran from the Tin Can Bay Inlet about 9 miles southwards, tapping into valuable pine forest.
The sheltered inlet here also supported industries such as dugong hunting, oyster cultivation, and fishing. Large numbers of oyster beds once stretched across this bay here. Now, despite all this activity, timber cutting, fishing, the area here was quite slow to develop. And by the late 1900s, the area consisted mostly of camps, temporary settlements, and a small number of structures. Land sales began in the early 1900s, with some land blocks becoming for sale in 1922. Initial demand was slow, with the land being purchased for holiday homes. And by the late 1920s, only a handful of residents lived here. Growth in the area, I guess, picked up in around the 1930s, about the time of the Depression, where land available here was cheap and people could afford to buy it. Gosh, that's changed today now, though. It's quite busy here. Mind you, it is the school holidays. The improved roads and access to Gympie would have also helped the area to grow. Look at that view. Look at this. How's that for a view? I could sit here all day and just soak up the atmosphere. I got distracted again. Now, where was I? The prawns, that's right. The discovery of prawns led to a rapid expansion of the trawling industry. Within weeks, dozens of boats arrived, transforming Tin Can Bay from a quiet coastal town to a busy fishing port and finally driving economic growth. Sorry. The Tin Can Bay foreshore birdwalk. I'm not much of a bird watcher myself. There are some interesting signs though that explain all the different birds and their habitats, I guess. Around this time also, the development of sand mining operations became more popular, which of course helps to drive a region's growth. Now in 1959, Tin Can Bay finally saw the light. And what I mean by that is they got electricity. They upgraded from kerosene cans to electricity.
About 1,000 people attended the ceremony where horns blared, rockets swished upwards and festoons of coloured lights sprang to life.
Tin Can Bay has continued to grow into what it's known as today, a relaxed coastal fishing and what else? Boating. Well, of course, boating, right? How could I miss that? There's so many boats out there. One of the better known attractions of Tin Can Bay, though, is the dolphin feeding, which I did very early this morning. Okay. Apparently the dolphins that I fed this morning were the Australian humpback dolphins, or was it the Australian Indo-Pacific humpback? Thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to like and subscribe. It is helping this channel to grow. And I'll see you next time.